All right, I'm going to try something a little bit different today. Let me get some more light in here from the outside. Hold on. Hopefully that's okay. Also, grab my phone stand. Okay, so a couple things. So I've started to realize that okay, a couple of things. So the first thing is you just heard my open dishwasher alarm. So I ran the dishwasher or turned the dishwasher on, and I like to open it when the cycle is complete. I don't use the heating element in my dishwasher, but I do like to open the dishwasher when it's done, and then that way everything will dry up nicely. Now it's not that big of a deal. Everything will dry very nicely overnight. So I can just leave it open overnight. I could even just punt, what I call punting, which is like not worrying about something until a certain time. I could punt this reminder about the dishwasher till just before bedtime. Just open the thing up before bedtime. I've got a whole routine for bedtime. I'm always adding things to it and tweaking it, but essentially, I usually come downstairs, at least once in the evening, even after I've done my bedtime routine, I'm watching TV, I'll come downstairs to adjust to the air conditioning, to turn on the outside lights, stuff like that. I call it closing up shop. And opening the dishwasher wouldn't be a big deal to do that. However, since I can do it, I like to open it up because I believe that when it's warm, like shortly after the cycle is complete, that's a good time. The water will evaporate more quickly. So I'm going to do that right now. And so I can go clean that up now because it's snoozing. I've got something that's snoozing. Or I could just wait for it to come back on, which is another thing, which is not cleaning up after myself. So I have this idea of flow, this feeling of flow, this mode of kind of flow where, what is it that I need in this moment? And let me just focus on that, not meaning that I'm going to let a lot of stuff accumulate or anything like that. But for example, if I use my pepper grinder, my black pepper grinder, if I use that for every meal, why would I put it away? And so that's just one metaphor. So there are things out. You can see over, all you have to do is look over here. There are all kinds of things that are just out. I'm not the cleanest. I'm not the, whatever you want to call it, right? I've got clutter and things that are out, and I don't care. As long as they're not in my way. But when I'm in the process of needing something or doing something, that's when I will kind of get things out of my way. And if at that time it's just as easy to just put something up or whatever, of course I'll do it. But I kind of just leave things sort of out. There's just all kinds of examples of that. So another example I might as well mention is on my phone. So I open up Windows on my phone. I think anyone watching this would probably be able to relate with having a lot of windows open on your phone or a lot of apps open on your phone. I think one of the most ubiquitous ones is, how many browser tabs you have open. And one way to handle that is to, okay, I'm done with that. Now I'm going to go shut everything down, right? You can keep everything really super clean, and you can be always, sort of what I consider to be like kind of overthinking, but like excessively, or taking care of your future self to excess. And always be cleaning up and putting everything away and shutting all your apps and everything. And I don't want to be that way. I want to see my calendar if I need to see my calendar. And then if I want to swipe down and see my lock screen, then that's where I'll go. There are advantages to sort of cleaning up after yourself with things like breadcrumbs. Not going to go into that. People who know what breadcrumbs are would probably understand how an open app window could help you to kind of back out of whatever you're doing. But I'm challenging that. I'm challenging the sort of excess breadcrumbs, the excess structure, the excess cleaning up after myself. And like everything, it's practice and experimentation and kind of allowing for some risk, maybe a little bit of extra time to invest in testing some of these things. Okay. So that's the not cleaning after myself. I went off onto a tangent a little bit with that, but I was talking about opening the dishwasher. And like I said, I like to open the dishwasher. My dishwasher doesn't have an alert or an alarm or anything that goes off. Similarly, my washer and dryer, neither of those have an end of cycle alarm. It's probably one of the things I would have kept if I was trying to simplify something, but my units are pretty simple. And I guess if you don't want to have a buzzer, I guess that's fine. They're very reliable and stuff like that. So whenever I put my wash in, or I put things from the washer to the dryer, I just kind of have to be mindful to say, what's next? Oh, I need to remember that this is, the next step is to take these things out. So I need to set an alarm. And it's very easy to wire your brain to form the habit of that. I also am very lucky to have a lot of project management experience. I was actually, I'm an elapsed project management professional, but I was a PMP, a project management professional. So I understand scheduling. I have a lot of most of my, still even maybe technically most of my, about half of my career was like in one way or another process and project management. And then the second half of my career is more like technical and design and stuff like that. Anyway, project managers are, it's drilled into your head. Now there's my alarm for the open dishwasher. Go ahead and stop that because I did it. I don't use many alarms. I think really not that many at all. And I didn't even have to use that one. I could have just said, hey, I knew it was going to be done at 1 o'clock, but I wouldn't want it to clutter my lock screen notifications. So I could have just as easily just said, hey, do it. I know it's going to be done somewhere in the 1 to 2 o'clock hour. I could have just said, put it on my calendar for the 2 o'clock. That way I would have a softer notification, stuff like that. Okay. So alarm, dishwasher, beat that to death. Another thing that I'm playing with is this idea of thirds, like thirds of an hour. So you've got the top of the hour until 20 after, and then you've got 20 after to 20 till, and then you have 20 till up until the top of the hour. And my idea, and this is something that just literally popped into my head yesterday, my idea is, can I, with a smaller, like an hour is so big and I'm so time blind, I'm wondering if somehow I could hook, sort of like how you have memory hooks. I'm wondering if there's something like a time hook, and where I can be a little more time aware, like, am I in the first third, the second third, or the third third of the hour? And with that second third, with the bottom of the hour being in the second third, the top of the hour is the top of the hour, which splits the early and the late parts of the hour. And I just wonder, so like right now I'm in like pretty close to the top of the hour, but I'm into that first third. It's 1:07 p.m. So if you want to think about it, you can think about it like I'm in the early part of the 1 o'clock hour. Then I'll be in the middle part of the 1 o'clock hour, and then in the late part of the 1 o'clock hour. And I just wonder, I don't want to be checking the time all the time. I don't want to be time focused. I like not being aware of time. It's really cool. It's one of the reasons that, drawing from the right side of the brain and all that time doesn't exist in the right side of your brain. And it's when you're being creative and artistic and productive, it's like you forget time. And it's awesome. It's kind of nice, except when you need time, right? So I'm just wondering if I could have this very slight awareness of time. I also have an awareness of doing this. Let me back up a second. Also trying to do the same thing with the month. I know it's July. Is it July? But where are we in July? Well, I can see right here because I'm in my calendar all the time, but I see the red. I know it's today. And that's mostly what I use the calendar for, is today. So I don't really even think about, it's the 18th of July, right? But now that I realize that there's a big red square around the 18 in the kind of the week, I can also go back into July and have a visual of where we are in the month. But I know that we are kind of in the middle of the month. So if you think about, wouldn't it be like 8 days or something like that? No, it'd be like, a month is 30 days, right? So it would be 10. You can do the same thing. A month is around, 30 days, right? So then it's like, is it the 10th? Or are you in between the 10th and the 20th? Or are you between the 20th and the 30th? Well, we're at the 18th. So we're in the middle. We're in the middle part of the month, the middle-ish part of the month. In a couple of days, we're going to be entering into the final part of the month, the latter third or latter part of the month. So I kind of like this idea of this kind of middle third or middle of the month being this middle 10 days of the month, first 10 days of the month, last 10 days of the month. So I'm kind of playing with that idea now, and I know that it's July. I know that we are in the middle part of the month, and we're not far from going into the latter part of the month. I'm just going to see if I can orient to that. Okay, so that's what that is. Another thing is I have punt and cascading needs of this moment. Let's see, thirds. Let's see, we have the hour. Oh, I know what it is. It's the punting. So the other thing is, since my notifications to myself, like reminders, I deliver those unless I'm going to use an alarm or unless something needs something else, right? And we're going to talk about the needs instead of the task properties. We're going to talk about the tool properties, but I'll get to that in a second. But there's an idea like I have right now. Let me see what I got. Okay, I've got nothing on my lock screen. And so let me see, like, why would that be? Let me see. Well, I just went into the 1 o'clock hour. Now, the 1 o'clock hour, though, see, I'm glad I just kind of thought about this because now I'm going into it's lunchtime. And so, I'll probably do another 10 minutes of this, and then I think I'm going to hit Chipotle just because I need to get out of the apartment, but that's another conversation. So my point, though, is that we are now in the early part of the 1 o'clock hour. I don't have any reminder to eat, and that's because I'm trying to avoid those kinds of things. However, no, I'm even getting rid of those. So I'm trying to get away from having strategies around eating come at me, and rather and instead just say, okay, where are we? Well, am I hungry? Am I not hungry? How am I doing? Checking in with myself. And you just saw it in real time. It dawned on me that it's lunchtime for me. Now, it's not a big deal that I go right now. I can jump up and go anytime. And there's a whole story behind that. But anyway, the idea behind the punting of tasks or information and the cascading of that information is this. In the early part of the hour, if we think about these thirds, in the early part of the hour, it's still young. The hour is still young. In the middle part, or like when we're at the sort of bottom of the hour, or 10 minutes on either side of the bottom of the hour. So I can even think of it kind of as the bottom of the hour, like in that vicinity, right? So early, it's like the early in the hour, late in the hour, or later in the hour, or in the middle of the hour, right? We're now in the beginning of the hour, and we're going to be in the beginning of the hour for 7 more minutes. And then we'll get into like that. Now we're in that middle place. And that middle place is probably a good time for me to be going, hey, bro, what should be going on here? If I look at my notification, there's nothing on my notification screen, but what hour are we in? What time is it? What's going on? Well, the truth is that it's lunchtime. And certainly when we start getting into the later part of the hour, that's when, for like in lunch, even though it's not tied to a task or me notifying myself of anything, but I really need to be thinking, okay, we're getting late in the hour. We're getting in the later part of the hour. I've got to go eat. Now, that's for like lunch and just being self-aware and checking in with my needs, wants, and feelings in any given moment. The other side of it are these things that show up on my lock screen. So if I have something that I'm doing like this hour, or I'm reminding myself of something this hour, it could be a strategy, it could be an idea, it could be a task. When I see that on my screen, and it's at the very top of the new hour, right? Like right at the top of the hour. In this case, it would be like right at 1 p.m. I don't have to worry about running to go eat lunch or doing anything on my lock screen. Okay. But it depends, right? So rather than thinking about process and task characteristics and what do I do for this type of task, with these tools? What process flow? What's the happy path for all this? Instead of doing that, it's more like, what do I need to know? And about whatever the information is, what does my future self need to know? And how does my future self need to know it? And then you use these different tools. Alarms, which basically boil down to alarms, Gmail, and the calendar. And all they do is deliver information to my future self, and just in subtly, and sometimes not so subtly different ways. But when you think about calendar, you think about Gmail, it's different. Calendar is actually a visualization tool, which we can get into. Okay. Anyway, my point is that I have this idea about these thirds. Oh, one more thing quickly. So aside from, let me back up a second. So for the most part, I'm serving up information that I need or want to have in any given hour. But it's not always that simple. Sometimes I don't know exactly when I'm going to do something. So for example, I want to remember my headphones when I go to the gym. Eventually, I won't need to be reminded to take my headphones to the gym, but it's a fairly new habit that I've started. So I have forgotten a couple times, to the point where it's like, okay, I'm going to put on my calendar for 4 p.m. Don't forget. And that my water bottle is even a newer habit. Taking my water bottle to the gym, there's a story and reasons behind it. But the most important thing is that I have decided that I want to be bringing my water bottle to the gym. So remember these and my water bottle. And then I have that on my calendar, like a calendar event at 4 p.m. so that on my phone's lock screen, it'll say something like, and I try to be exact with what it is I'm actually telling myself. And what I'm telling myself is, remember to take your headphones and your water bottle to the gym. That's the way I like to put things. And so on my phone, it will say that. And so there's a message from my previous self, Now, am I going to the gym right now? Well, what if so let's say I'm hungry. So I have reminders, not now, I don't think. Let's see what I've got at 4 o'clock. Okay. So I've got 3 things for 4 o'clock, but I don't know when I'm going to do them, but I know that it's not going to be before 4 o'clock. So I don't need to just forward these things and all that stuff. Okay. 3 things. Don't forget headphones. And let me make sure. Yeah. Don't forget headphones and water. That's the way I have it. The second one is legs and core today. Okay. So today's Thursday. Thursday and Sunday are my legs and core. And then Wednesdays and Saturdays are upper body. Okay. And then the other days of the week are the other 3 days of the week are cardiovascular. And of course I can always do cardio on a day that I'm doing strength, but that's the way it works. And then on the cardiovascular days, which I'm almost always doing the elliptical, I want to be doing flexibility. Okay. Because I'm nice and warmed up. It's cardio. It's just a good time to be doing flexibility. And that's just kind of like the way I'm doing things. But I just kind of want to remember today that, hey, today's a legs and core day. So the second thing I have is, it says, shave, please. So I grow my beard out, but I didn't, I always shave when I go to work, and I typically go to work on Wednesdays, but I also take a lot of my PTO days on Wednesdays. And so yesterday I was off. And so it starts getting itchy. It starts kind of getting a little long around the corners of it bothers me. So I just said, shave, please. Now, which of these things are, so two of these things are about the gym. One of them is about shaving. Nothing on here is about dinner or any kind of reminders about dinner, but I could. Now, I don't really need to know anything about the tasks, although the shaving is like a task, but it's more like it's a request. And what's going to happen is I'm going to want to like jump in the shower after I shave. I like to shave before I get in the shower, and that's just how it do. And so that is more than likely I'm going to just drag that down to 5 o'clock, but it's going to appear at 4. It's going to just pop up on my screen in these 3 things: headphones, water bottle, what I'm doing at the gym, which I don't even really need that, but it's nice because it also kind of gets me in the mood. Like, oh yeah, because for some reason I love doing the elliptical, but doing the strength training took me, getting back into strength training took me a minute to get, can I really do this, or should I be doing more cardio, because I really like cardio and those kinds of movements. I prefer cardio. But now that I'm doing strength training, I'm totally into it. I love it. And I'm also just seeing, just literally like instant kind of feeling better and stuff. There's so much difference between strength and cardio, whatever, right? So then you've got shaving. So this is what's probably going to happen. But this is the way I kind of do my evenings. Every evening is the same in terms of what I do, but which thing I do first is different. So the basic sort of way I've been just checking in and kind of deciding what to do first in the evening is, am I hungry? If I'm hungry, then I'm going to eat dinner, and then I'll probably meditate because while I'm digesting my food, and then to the gym. If I'm not hungry, then I'm definitely going to go to the gym, which is nice because then I don't kind of wait around digesting or whatever, and then I'm going to decide kind of when I'm back from the gym, do I want to eat, or do I want to meditate sort of first? If I'm really, really not hungry, which is not often the case, I'm usually fairly hungry by like 5 o'clock ish or after 5, but it just doesn't matter. That's the point. So, but it's probably, I'd say 8 out of 10 times, it's going to be one of either dinner, meditate, gym, or gym, dinner, meditate. And now there's other things that can be thrown in there, which actually works pretty well. Like sometimes I don't want to cook. And I've already tested this where I have enough time every evening, or in a single evening, I can do dinner, like I can do a luxurious dinner, a fully prepared cooked dinner. I can cook, it's hard to explain, but I can prepare and eat dinner, which is different than cooking. Cooking for me is cooking chicken. That is what cooking is. That's the only thing I actually kind of cook. Everything else just gets assembled. It's frozen. It gets heated up and shit like that. But I can do it a luxurious dinner followed by a full process of setting chicken out, baking everything, prepping it, resting it, all of that. And in between those little times where there's 20 minutes here and there, 15 minutes here and there, I can be meditating. Then I can hit the gym. It's beautiful. It works great. And I still have time for a very leisurely bedtime routine, winding down with TV, and then lights out, right? So, but the point is like I can load up 4 p.m. with all the reminders about the evening, and then I can just slide these things down. So if it's like, as soon as I go to the gym, as soon as I decide I'm going to go to the gym, actually the shaving, I didn't want to think about the 5. I didn't want to fret over the shaving, exactly when the shaving is. Really, I'm probably not going to shave before 5. Like I said, because Shaving is part of the showering. Showering comes after the gym. Now, sometimes I can get home. That's another thing I can do when I get home. It's like sometimes I want to go straight in the shower. Not all the time, but I want to go straight in the shower. However, now, since I'm going to shave and shower, maybe I'd rather eat. So it's like that kind of thing, right? Shaving is sort of like cooking, where it's a little bit different. It's a thing. It doesn't take that long, but I really like to have plenty of time to do it and be very mindful about it. So the block of time it takes to shower and shave is a different deal than just kind of jumping in the shower and getting the sweat off of me, right? Okay. But that's why all these things are coming up at 4 o'clock. So that's where we talk about the thirds. Okay, so it doesn't really go into the thirds. I'm trying to think of how that fits in with the thirds. Oh, the punting and the cascading. So let's say I go to the gym, right? And let's say that I just leave these 3 things. I've got these 3 things that are on my lock screen. I'm actually in the gym working out, right? At some point, I'm going to get into that latter third. What did I say? The beginning of the hour, the bottom of the hour, and the later part of the hour, right? So the early part of the hour, or the beginning of the hour, the middle of the hour, and then the later part of the hour. When I start getting that later part of the hour, that's basically a 20-minute window. It's sort of like, okay, am I going to do this? Now, even at the bottom of the hour, in the middle of the hour, at that point, I can pretty much predict like that I'm not going to be taking a shower before the top of the hour. The whole idea is to punt these things. At some point, I'm going to want to punt shaving, the reminder that I want to shave, into the 5 o'clock hour, and then maybe into the 6 o'clock hour. And it's not that big of a deal. It's like doing this. That's what it is. It's like that. So that's the point of the thinking about the hour in terms of thirds. Now, what I used to do, and what I'm trying to get away from, is I used to set alarms for this, like at 9 minutes before every hour, so that an alarm would go off, and that was my wake-up call, like, oh, I need to delay whatever it is that I don't think I'm going to be able to get done, because it's 9 minutes before the end of the hour. And the only reason that any of this even matters is that I don't want to miss anything, and I don't want to have to like compulsively go and look at my calendar all the time. Although I can always do that. My calendar's always there. And if I really wanted to do it, I could just say, look, every time there's a new hour, I could just check. Hey, where am I? Am I missing anything? So it's just, that's what I'm kind of playing around with. Okay. And like I said, right now I'm totally free. Now we're getting to the bottom of the hour. Like the actual bottom, not the middle part of the hour. We're almost in the middle of the middle part of the hour, which is 1:30, right? Now I don't have anything on my screen, but there are other things that I could be doing because they're in my Gmail inbox. And that's a different story, and we're going to talk about that. Let me talk about that real briefly. So firstly, this idea of nuances, it's very, very important to understand a lot of these nuances around these different tools. So even just the alarm, calendar, and Gmail, there are so many subtleties, so many nuances, so many bugs. And until you really use these things, you never really know until you really, really get into using them. So for example, right now, I'm relying a lot more on calendar notifications. And I'm seeing weird things happen. Like I will just get an extra notification. I'll get an extra notification. So I have a calendar event for, let's just pick on 1 o'clock. So I get my notification, everything works great. And then just at 1:37, it just pops up again. It's almost like a snooze, because it pops up like the sounds. I don't know how to explain it. And if I have more than one thing that it was at 1 o'clock, I don't even know what the notification's for. And so I don't want to go deeply into that, but it's because the notifications are all on the same screen. So there's a sound, and there's maybe a banner pops down, but you don't see what it is. And then like you look at your lock screen, it's like, what is it? What did it just do? Like, what was that notification for? So fortunately, and this is typical of Apple, I don't think they're going to fuck me over so that I can't even trust the calendar. So they're going to have probably false positives are going to be just less prioritized than false negatives. A false negative means I miss an appointment. A false positive means fuck you, that's annoying. Okay? All right, so what's the other thing? So there's just so many nuances. I'm almost thinking like I want to just do a whole program on nuances, but I don't think I want to. I don't want to prepare it. I don't want to spend time on it. I'd rather just kind of confessional this kind of stuff. All right, two more things. Two more things I might as well finish up. I do need to ping my work. Okay. Especially since we're sort of outside that lunch window. That's a whole nother thing we can talk about. So two more things, like when we talk about nuances, there's a reason why I'm bringing up nuances, is that they're critical. You have to like understand how these tools work. And then the other thing I've been doing is I've been focusing on, I'm trying to move, or I am actually moving away from like this happy path sort of process sort of thing that says things start in Gmail and then they go to the calendar, and then you have your safety net in Gmail, and you have your routine in the calendar, and then things show up on your lock screen, and you have this like sort of uniform kind of clean way to kind of treat sort of any task. Which would be nice. It would be nice to just have this cookie cutter, like happy path. But of course, for anyone who's like got education in engineering or who's ever heard of like corner cases. Corner cases are those things that come up that are just different, right? So you have your happy path, which is put something in Gmail, see it in the morning, put it on the calendar, and you're done. That would be like a happy path. But then you have corner cases, which is, well, what about this? What about that? When this happens, that happens. Things that don't happen, that happen less frequently, but they happen. And they're called corner cases because they're not those central, very common things. At least that's what my understanding is from my engineering friends. And so there's always exceptions, right? Now, then what you could do is you could say, okay, well, here's the happy path. And then there's these different kinds of tasks. There are these different things that the universe serves up. And so then you can start looking at, well, what are the characteristics of the different kinds of tasks? And then you can have processes for those. Like there are periodic tasks. There are one-off tasks. There are routines that are every day. There are things that are as needed. I call them PRN, like in medicine, but it's like as needed things. I can see that I need to, I can see that I need to sweep the floor, for example. And so then you start saying, okay, well, how do you deal with all those? So like periodic tasks, for example, are great just to have in Gmail and you can snooze them. Routine stuff, a little different, but routine stuff is kind of good for the calendar. But at the same time, it's in your head is probably best. Like, why not? Why have anything? Like, why have something yelling at you if you know that all you need to do is exercise and meditate? That's really the only thing. And once you get into that habit without the phone, then that's always better. I'm telling you, physical cues in your brain, way better than anything on a phone. And that's another thing I've been working on, is allowing myself to maybe forget things that would have been more convenient to remember, but there's no risk of me actually forgetting about them forever. It might be a little, like for example, cooking chicken. It's convenient for me to have a task that says your chicken is expiring tomorrow, because that way I can break up the whole chicken thing into shopping and then cooking. And there are advantages to that. But you know what? If I forget or I run out of chicken or something, it's okay. It's a minor difference to go to the grocery and cook all in the same day. Or I could go to the grocery and then just accommodate myself with the money I'm saving by being unmedicated and not going to doctors. I can give Chipotle that money. And I'm doing that today, even though I don't have an excuse to do it. Okay, so anyway, so there is the PRN, there's the physical cues, alternatives, a thing in my head. There's periodic things that are just very nice. Like anything that's every 2 weeks, I'm not going to remember that it's the week or not. Things that are quarterly, whatever, periodic stuff. Again, things that are routine and information that are repetitive, and I can just have my calendar serve it up if it's very time sensitive for when I want to do something and stuff like that. But what I think is going to work a lot better, and this is very, very different for me, is that I'm looking at the calendar as two main things. The calendar is really good for time sensitive things. I wouldn't say routine, because routine things can be in Gmail and calendar. It just depends on what kind of routine you're talking about. Daily routine stuff, still, I wouldn't even say that. I would say that the calendar does two things really well. One, time sensitive stuff. Getting things on your lock screen in a time sensitive way, especially like within these hour blocks, these 1 hour blocks, the 5 o'clock hour, the 6 o'clock hour. Wonderful for that. Gmail is not that good about that. You have to menu dive a little bit to get something to pop up on your lock screen, and then if you want to delay it, so it's just clunkier. So calendar is and the other thing I would say for calendar for me, it's stuff today that is time sensitive. And then what was the other thing? And then for the calendar, the other thing the calendar is incredible at is visualization. Being able to piece together a complex day. It's dangerous also, though, and I'll explain how I'm using Gmail much more heavily now. But when you need it, when it's smart to do it, it's like crack. You got to be careful, but when you really need to map out your day, calendar, it's great, especially the iOS calendar, just because of the way you rarely have to go into something. You can drag, reshape things. You have multiple colors. There's the way you can drag them around, and it's great. It's really, really great. It's not perfect, but I don't think I've ever seen anything better, which is why I'm still using iOS calendar. And of course, it's anything that's native is good. So that's the calendar. Now, what does Gmail do? Well, Gmail is excellent for anything that's persistent, right? So there are things in my Gmail inbox and they stay there. They don't go away. They don't disappear tomorrow. They're just there. And Gmail is also excellent for things like on a daily basis, like snoozing things. So I can snooze a task until any day that I want. And it makes it very easy. It's very easy to snooze things. You also have the ability to snooze things within the day. I've just changed this, but I've got 5 a.m., now 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. So that's it's technically morning, noon, morning, noon, and evening or something. But there's reasons I set those early. And so I can have opportunities in Gmail at all times. And they won't go anywhere. I won't miss them. They won't disappear. I can make them disappear. I can push them off of the table at any time at all, whether it be until the afternoon or until the evening or until tomorrow, until next week, next month, next year. And when I combine Gmail with a morning review every morning over coffee, I'm looking at Gmail and saying, what are the must-dos? What are the must-dos for today? What are the things I need to punt? I want to just get them out of my way. And that, hang on a second. And what are the things that need to go on my calendar? What are the things that are, okay, good. This is today. And with the clarity that I have in this moment, I know that I'm going to need to do this at 2 o'clock, or maybe I want to do it at 10 o'clock because of the traffic or something. Or maybe I know I can't do it until 10 because the meat department doesn't open until 10. That kind of stuff. Obviously, a doctor's appointment would be a very specific time, but for me, that would be an alarm. I wouldn't I would put it on the calendar so that I didn't try to do, plan to do anything else at the same time. But it's doctor's appointments get alarms. Leaving the house gets alarms. Getting ready to leave the house gets an alarm. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And it also gives you a lot of freedom because you know that alarm is going to persist. So that's Gmail. So it's like you've got this morning review of Gmail that presents items. And here's the thing about Gmail also. Anything in the Gmail inbox is actionable, and it could be actionable in one of two ways. The thing that's in there can be done, or you want to know it, okay? Or it's something new and it requires your attention because you need to make a decision about it. So that's where anything that comes in, like 9 out of 10 things that come into Gmail that I add to Gmail in a given day, I don't look at it. I just don't even look at them until tomorrow. Unless there is something in my inbox that's I want to do, or I may go and just pick off. And then while I'm in there, I'll see these new things and maybe I decide to kind of get rid of them. It all depends. It all depends. How many things are there? Is it more than a screen? If it's not more than a screen, then is it giving me a problem, or can I just go in there and pick from the menu and it's not overwhelming? If it's overwhelming, maybe we do 2 tiers. Maybe we just take, what are the must-dos? Are there any must-dos? No, there are no must-dos. If there are no must-dos, then it's easy, because all you need to do is just do the top thing. Oh, you don't want to do the top thing? That's actually okay. There's not a problem with that, because that was an arbitrary thing. Oh, I can't do that, or that takes too long. Okay, good. What about the second thing? And so it's up to me, how much I want to review all of my opportunities. So Gmail is like opportunities, but I want them to be opportunities that are immediately actionable. But at the same time, I can decide, look, I'm working and I don't want to see any opportunities until 4 p.m. or until 11 a.m., right? Or until tomorrow. I can decide, look, I got enough, and I can always go in there and look at things that are snoozed, or I can say, look, they're right there and I like them. So let me do another ping here real quick. Looks good. This is weird. I got a different, hold on. Just want to go into something real quick. Okay, that looks good. And so right now, here's some examples. In Gmail, in my inbox, I've got replying to my daughter's Instagram, which I did. I've got, this is like a strategy, but it's going slow. I need to remember to go slow. I don't need to be there's never a need to be, there's rarely, I should say, rarely a need to be in a rush. I'm going to go up to Chipotle. I'm going to go get some food. I'm going to order it. It's going to be ready by the time I get there, and I'm going to come right back home. And if there's anything at work, it doesn't matter, because my work knows that sometimes I take a late lunch. And so that's just like a little like strategy reminder. Now I can have those reminders in calendar. I can keep them here. I can make them whatever, but I don't care. I want it. I want to see that. And I want to see it right now, actually. And I'm doing that 3 times a day. I'm doing it morning, afternoon, and night. But I'm not interrupting myself or pushing it. But it's like a soft kind of pull. There's a little badge there. If I'm already in what I call an intersection, which is what Gmail is. It's an intersection. It's something I'm in. And I'm in there because I'm adding things. I'm in there because I do get some external emails, not that many. Not many people know my Gmail. And then I'm in there working the list, and I'm in there updating things. And so when I'm in there for other things, I'll see this little strategy saying, go slow, be in the moment. I've got some hygiene things that I need to do. I've got that. In fact, I'm going to be able to do this right now. I'm getting ready to go to Chipotle. I want to check my mileage on my car. And also want to check the sticker to see when they say that my oil change needs to be done again. But more importantly, I just want to get the kind of mileage on my car, because I rotate my tires every 3,000 miles and I change my oil every 6,000 miles. And I also change my oil, but I also check my oil every month. And that's just because I've been told by more than one shop that my oil level was a little low, and that kind of freaks me out. So I for the rest of my life, I'll probably never go more than a month without checking my oil level. And so, but I want to know that right now because I'm getting ready to get in my car. Okay, so the hygiene thing I don't need to do now, but I could do it between now and the evening. I could do that because I'm waiting. I'm literally waiting for my teammates still. And so I'm idle and I'm going to get these things done. Oh, another thing is I need to get cash. Okay. Now that is here. I could have done that if I were closer to lunch or something, but now it's just here, and I have no plans on driving anywhere other than Chipotle. I need to get to Chipotle and back. So what I'm going to do is might as well do it right here. So this is what I'm going to do. First of all, I can leave this open as a breadcrumb. A breadcrumb is something that kind of reminds me what I'm wanting to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is let me just do it right now before I even walk out. I'm going to go to the Chipotle website. Order now. I love Chipotle, by the way. It's like 9 out of 10 times that I eat. It's 10 out of 10 times that I eat healthy. Although I think Panda Express may not be too bad. So I'm going to ignore their cookie thing. Order now. I want a burrito bowl. Got to find your Chipotle first. Hirschborn. Wait a minute. No, that's not it. Oh, wait, that's it. Don't know why they don't have that already. I thought they had that as my spot. Okay, so we're going to do chicken. Oh, God, wouldn't it be good to have guacamole? Would be so good. Let's do white rice. I'm going to do the normal one. I'm going to do both beans. I'm going to do salsa. I'm going to do pico, medium, and corn. And I can always do cheese. Let's do cheese. Just for a few more calories. We're going to add that. Under $10. Quickest order detail. Submit. Looks like I missed something. This is weird. I don't remember giving them my email. This is really bizarre. I wonder if I somehow like deleted my. Oh, you know what it is? It's the cookies. I told them to fuck off with the cookies, so they didn't use my cookies. All right. So tax total. Let's see if it'll take it. Sorry, we didn't quite get that. Double check your payment. This is weird. Your session has expired. Wait a minute. Hang on a second. Let's go back. Let's sign in. That's what happened. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, so now they're going to send me a code. Yeah, so I'm getting caught up in all that bullshit. Okay, so let's try this again. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. So submit using my Visa. Yeah, bro. Now I don't know what I logged in. Here's my order. Order summary. Chicken, black beans, pinto, pico, tomatillo. It says chili. Okay, corn, cheese, white rice. Okay, that's it. So now I can go, right? But now I can look at my I have no older notifications. It's 1:53, so we're really close to the top of the hour, but there's nothing that I need to forward. However, there's a few things that are very useful that are in Gmail, and that's this thing about the mileage and the just going slow. I'm going to give myself permission to go get some fucking food, get the fuck out of his house. But I'm going to come back the fuck to work instead of, eating there for like half an hour or anything. That way, if anybody needs me, I'll be back here and I'm just going to chill. But all the while, I'm still going to pull up my Microsoft Teams so that I can ping it so people know that I'm available. All righty. I'll see you all in the next one. Later, dude.